All right, JP.
Good.
So, just an introduction on yourself. How old you are, your introduction to aviation, how long you've been flying, things like that. Just to give people a good background on yourself.
Yeah, sure. Right now I'm 21. I moved to Norway from the Netherlands when I was 4, and I started flying when I was 16. Got my license at 17,
Nice.
and then I went to high school to become the European version of an AMP.
Okay.
Currently, I'm an apprentice to become an AMP at Notodden Airport, Norway. Work primarily on GA, 206s, 185s. Um, yeah, all
Nice.
GA. Mostly float planes,
Okay.
which is
Wow.
kind of
Yeah.
cool.
Well, you got the Fords and stuff.
Yeah.
What is your total time as a I guess pilot, and then like kind of talk about your tail wheel time as well? Because did you get your PPL in a tail wheel, or was that something that you got separately?
I got it separately. In Norway, it's really hard to get a tail wheel or get PPL on the tail wheel,
Really?
or in Europe in general,
Okay.
yes, because of insurance and stuff.
Right.
But right now I have a just shy of 240 hours, which is accumulated in 3.5 years.
Okay. And then table
And
time
tailwheel time is around 30 right now.
30.
I
Okay.
got mine early this year.
Okay. Nice.
And
Very
yeah,
jealous.
it's mostly Cubs and a little bit of Cap 10 time,
Okay.
aerobatics, about 10 hours of aerobatics.
Right.
And
So,
then I've
yep, go
yeah.
ahead. Sorry.
And then I'm gonna start my float rating next season, and I also have my night rating.
So, are you sport or what is your actual rating? Because I think it's definitely different over here.
No, it's PPL-A.
So, you actually have to get a night rating.
Yes, we do in Europe.
Okay. Um, So the event, obviously, that we're going to be talking about today. When did this
Yeah.
event occur? Not long ago, right?
10 days ago, the 15th of October,
The 15th. Okay, so
on a
set
Tuesday.
set the scene for us of what time was it? What were the weather conditions? What was your kind of plan for the day? We obviously have some pictures that we're going to reference maybe kind of at the end, or you can just tell me what you want me to show the stream if you want to do it as we talk. But
Yeah, sure.
kind of like set the scene for us. What was going on?
Well, I was working, and earlier in the week, I decided to fly on that day because it was the only nice day in the week.
Right.
So after work, which is on the airports, I took the airplane out, fueled it, and started it. It's a hand prop,
Yep.
so no starter.
Right. It's important for this
Uh,
story, especially.
yes, yeah. You can pull up a picture of the plane if you'd like.
Yeah. So for
Uh,
for those who maybe don't know, he's flying it's an L4, but so it's the military version of like a J3 Cub.
yes.
And the some of them do have starters, but the original configuration is no starter. So you have to hand prop the aircraft. Again, that's going to be kind of important in this story. So when he mentions, I hand propping, there is no starter on this aircraft, and that's kind of the original. Let's see if I can. I wish I could just flick through them, but so here
Yeah.
is the L4. Beautiful
Yeah.
aircraft, beautiful.
Yeah. Supposedly it's from 1944.
Okay, and this is your friend's
The
aircraft, is that correct?
Yeah,
Okay,
I borrowed it from a friend.
okay,
Yes. Um, I also have, I don't know where, if I included a video of me hand propping it, but it's
oh
not that. This time, one day it starts on the first blade, and the other time I need to wait. built it through a few times. But it's chalked on both wheels, and after I get it running, I pull the RPM down, I walk
Yep.
around the plane, pull the other chocks, and then yeah.
Nice. Quite the process there for especially a a single person hand prop.
Yeah, and I'm not the biggest guy or the strongest either, so
So this is the day of?
yes, this is the day off.
Okay.
So you can see the sky is blue, just a few cirrus clouds.
Yeah.
Temperature is, I think, about 8. Dew point is 5, I think, on
So
the day.
kind of close,
So
but
yeah, kind of close. But the danger of carb ice was there. It always is in a cub,
right.
in an old cub.
So
This one is upgraded with a 90 horse with a C90.
so for those of you who don't know, the temperature and dew point is important because so your temperature decreases as you gain altitude. So when you reach the altitude where your temperature and your dew point are the same, that is where moisture is prevalent, right? And that's where it lies. So that's why we mentioned the temperature and the dew point, because obviously the dew point is a little bit lower, but as you climb and that temperature decreases and you meet the dew point, now we have the perfect atmosphere for moisture, right?
Yes, where those two meet, you get visible moisture.
Yes. Right. Yeah. So you started the plane, everything was perfect
Yes.
ish.
Yeah, everything was nice. Radio has a little bit of static noise, but that's normal with the plane.
Right.
Taxied out, um, contacted the tower, or well, it's flight information.
You just getting
Airports.
your ATIS or
Uh,
weather information, or
th-
you're just, I mean,
there's no or you
okay.
get weather information. There's no ATIS.
Okay.
The tower only gives traffic information and weather info.
Okay. Perfect.
It's a little bit different than in the States.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it took a long time for him to respond to my calls. So clearly he was doing something else, watching Netflix or something. Um, because it's a quiet airport.
Yeah.
But anyway, I did run up. Um, you need some space for the run up because when you hold the brakes, and you have 1500 RPM, the plane starts rolling.
Right. Not the best brakes. Definitely understand
No,
that.
yeah, old drum brakes.
Right.
But took off. Nice still autumn weather. Um, yeah,
Yep.
nice smooth. Took a few pics, and there's some other traffic coming in, and slowly climbing because the peak I wanted to circle was at 7,000 feet.
I think we have a picture of that, I
Yes, yes.
believe.
You have a few pictures of the Green Mountains, which was
It's
before I climbed.
the plane.
Yeah.
The flight view. This is going to be it.
Yes, yes, yeah.
All right, we'll get back.
Yeah.
Can I scroll? No, I cannot.
Yes, that was actually from the day before that picture,
Oh, this
but
one?
it's in the
Okay.
same area.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
because I was also out in the plane the day
Oh,
before.
this is the one, I believe.
Yeah. Yes.
So this is the
That was the
peak
plane.
that you were kind of planning on like scouting.
Yeah, just flying around.
Right. Another one here.
So I needed to lean the engine, because it is so high up.
Right.
So
What's
you
your
need to
altitude
unbuckle.
here? What is your
It's about 7,000 feet.
MSL?
Yes,
Yes,
MSL.
MSL. Okay. What's your ground? Like, what are
Uh,
you at on the ground? Probably 2,000 or so. You're
right there, I think you're at about 3,000 feet
okay.
AGL.
So you're 4,000. Yeah, 3,000 AGL. Okay.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. That's where the temperature and dew point are going to meet most likely.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
I experienced a little bit of carb ice before on the flight.
Okay.
Um,
And a cruise. or
Yeah, in cruise power. So
oh,
the
I don't know if you
danger of
wanted.
carb ice was definitely there.
This is a video, I think, of the kind of flight.
Yes. Yeah, you can also see the cockpit. It's quite old.
Of course, yeah. So
Of
honestly, it
course.
looks like a very well maintained aircraft.
Yeah, it's okay. I have seen better, but
So you
yeah.
experienced a little bit of carb ice in the cruise, and
Yeah, yeah.
was it noticeable quickly, or did it take you a second to kind of grasp what was happening?
No, it was kind of noticeable, and I was also playing with the mixture because I'm so high up.
Okay,
And you need to unbuckle yourself and reach forward to lean him to reach
so
the mixture knob.
right.
Um,
So were you
but
thinking at that time? Were you thinking, is my mixture too lean, or is it carb ice? Like,
um, I think it was carb ice.
but
Mixture was
was
10%.
your thought process? Am I too lean, or is it carb? Like, was that your thought? Was like, oh, I just leaned it too much.
It could have been leaned too much, but it usually runs kind of really rough when it's lean off peak, the engine.
Okay, so you knew
This one
something was
didn't.
off.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I pulled the carb heat, and yeah, RPM rose slowly, eventually, and fine.
did
Push
you
it back
keep?
in,
Oh,
and
say you pushed it back. Okay.
yeah, after a few minutes, I pushed it back in, and I kept checking it regularly throughout the flight.
Now, does yours have a cylinder head temperature? Is there any temp gauges, or is it all just you just got to wait till it happens?
There's no temp gauges.
Okay.
The owner has now considered putting a carb inlet temp in it.
Yeah, I'm sure he did. Yeah, absolutely.
uh, yeah.
So
Uh,
you push it back in, you kept cruising.
yeah.
Everything's
Yes.
great.
Yes. Everything's great, beautiful, uh, quiet, and or well, quiet. The engine is running still, but
Yeah, but that's a good
and
quiet.
then yeah, and then I after circling it a few times, um, I headed back and did some air work through some steep turns and stuff to
Yeah,
keep that skill sharp.
absolutely. What's your flight back time wise? I mean, are you far away? Are you fairly close? Or
I'll say I'm about 20 minutes away from the field
okay? And are you running?
in straight line.
Yeah. And are you running? Are you using? I don't know if you guys have for flight or anything. Do you have an iPad for avionics? What is your kind of means of navigation that you're working with?
Well, I had a printout of a paper chart with me, and I had my phone with ForeFlight. I
Okay.
didn't bother bringing my iPad with me on that trip
Right.
because it's just a local flight,
Local flight.
and I know the area.
Yeah. So you head
So
back.
I
You're working your way back.
yes, descended slowly, um, and uh, did some stalls also,
Nice.
which I think is kind of crucial for this story, because then you have low power setting, and
And you
on
probably
the
didn't
descent,
go and reach for carpet either. Yeah.
it was on throughout
Okay.
the whole descent. Yeah, yeah,
Okay. So
it
you
was
did
on
have carpet on
the
during your
descent.
descent and
Yes,
for the stalls as well.
yes,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, and but the engine just operated normally. It has vortex generators, this cub, so the stall is really benign. I tried kicking the rudder to see if it wanted to drop a wing or flick. It just doesn't,
Yeah.
which is really beautiful with the cub, but it's also kind of dangerous because it's a false security,
Right.
I think. But other than that, I just continued on my descent with relatively high power setting. I kept my altitude, uh, At the time of the incident, I was at 5,000 feet MSL, which is about 4,000 feet AGL at that point.
Okay. And your cloud
And
coverage was your cloud coverage, was it similar to like kind of what we saw in that picture, or had it kind of cleared up? Because it kind of looked like you were VFR above the clouds in like the picture when you were circling the peak. So
yes.
was it similar, or was it like clear skies where you were descending?
Well, where I was descending, it was clear.
Okay.
Um, if you open the picture name, the scenery snow,
Yes.
the mountain top is just where the sun is,
Got it.
and you see the clouds hanging behind that ridge.
Mm-hmm.
So everything behind that ridge is covered with clouds, and everything on this side is clear in a million,
Got
which
it.
is where I was coming from and returning to.
Okay.
So no visible moisture. Um, but when I was approaching a ridge and I wanted to descend into a reporting point to land,
Mm-hmm.
I started to pull my power back, and I think when I had reached about 1500 or so, it just continued dropping
Your
to
power, your
zero.
RPMs.
Yes. Keep it and keep in mind carpeet's still on. So I just did a slight reduction in power, and when it passed a certain point, it just gave up.
Wow.
So most likely carb ice is the conclusion, because we managed to start the engine later in the evening.
Right. Okay, so the engine quits. Now is I mean the J3 is a very the C90, that's the engine, correct? In your
Yes.
J3. It's a
Yes.
very low compression engine. So was the prop twirl, I mean was it still spinning, or was it just completely stopped?
It was completely stopped. It stopped at yeah, it just stopped. It's a wooden prop,
Mhm.
so that's maybe one of the reasons it stopped, but it just stopped. So I sent you a KML file, I think, on Discord of
Uh
the track log.
yes, yes.
Yes, yes. You can open it if you want.
So
Yes. Yeah,
great.
the
So
stream's a little bit delayed, I
yep,
think,
yep,
but
yep.
yeah.
So this is your
Yeah.
departure. You
Yes,
fly
correct.
up. God, gorgeous. Circle the peak here,
Yeah.
and then I would assume probably maybe over.
You can see where I start descending. With those two bigger lakes. The
Yes.
stream's a few
Okay.
seconds delayed.
So this is kind of where we are in the story right now. Is kind of by these lakes.
Yes, we're
Okay.
above those lakes.
Perfect.
So, right there and then the engine quit. So I looked for a landing spot. So I saw the road you see to the right of the screen,
Yeah.
which is where I also ended up landing.
Hmm. And you're what's your AGL here?
4,000
4,000.
ish.
Okay. Yeah.
Upon landing, I think it might have been 2,000 or so when the engine quits.
Okay. A little bit less time, but nonetheless.
Yeah. Um, but it was kind of a steep hill from where I was to where the road is, because it's in a valley.
This road is in a valley. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Um,
If you use tilt profile, you will see it.
yeah. Yeah.
Tilt profile.
If you hold your middle mouse button, you can tilt it. Hit your
Oh,
mouse.
that is. Oh my goodness. Fantastic. You guys are so smart. You guys are so smart. There we go. This is great. Oh my
Yes.
goodness. For
Yes.
accident,
Yes.
well, not accident,
Yeah.
incident analyzation. This is fantastic. Okay.
This is from Flight, by the way. I use Flight
Okay.
in Europe.
Fantastic. So right here, we
So
could probably say right. I know your stream is delayed, but probably
yeah,
right here is your point
yeah,
of okay, something is wrong.
yeah.
Um, okay.
So if you look 180 degrees uh, in the flight path, yeah,
Oop, here comes.
I might have probably been able to glide across the ridge and into the bigger valley where people live in hindsight. Um,
Over
but
here
I
by
didn't
is
do
this
that.
Lemoyne? I mean, are you like
Now to the right. If you
oh
follow the
over
flight path
here?
straight, if you look a few degrees to the right now, I think, yeah.
I got it. Somewhere over here.
That one. Ah.
So you could have
Yeah,
landed
yeah.
this way.
Where Sauland is, just to the right of Sauland. That's a bigger valley, you see.
Okay. Yes. Oh, I see. So you're saying if
Yeah,
you immediately if you would have made the right, you probably would have had some different options.
yeah. But I'm happy I also went left, because I managed to land safely there.
Of course. So you're descending. What is your like? I guess every pilot hopefully never has to experience this, but what is your immediate thought? The prop stops. Like you're there. What I mean, what is does your brain go immediately to I guess your training, like best glide? I mean, is that where you went?
Instinctively, I started to hold the nose up to go to best glide, but it took a few seconds before I realized it. So the startle factor is really a thing.
Right.
Um,
And
yeah.
then did you? I mean, I don't know the. I mean, obviously it might be different over there. Did you 1215? I mean, immediately make a kind of a mayday call, or I guess like what was your like what was the did you do everything? And I get I mean, you can say as much as you want, but did you do it by the book, or did you have like were there things that you're like I didn't do this, I should have done it better? I guess in this moment,
The thing I did not do, partly also because I had it in the back of my mind, ATC took a while to respond to my calls when it first started.
right?
And when I had the incident, I hadn't talked to the tower in about 45 minutes. And he doesn't have a scope. So he didn't know where I was.
Mm,
So if I would have made a mayday call, it would have gone out. He probably would have heard it, but he wouldn't have heard where it came from, probably, I think.
right.
I could be wrong, of course. But I focused more on flying the plane. Aviate,
That's it.
navigate, communicate, of
Exactly.
course.
Yeah.
But so I didn't contact him. I could have tried, of course. But I just didn't for some
Yeah.
reason. But I stand by what I did. So
Yeah. I mean, 100%. Was I think they always say, pick your landing spot and do not deviate from your decision. Was the road like initially I'm going there? That's, where you went, or did you have a
yes,
few things in mind?
it was the road. That was also the lowest point I could fly to.
Just trade
And
altitude for airspeed and just make it.
I had more than enough airspeed, which I
Mm,
will come back to later.
okay.
But I was dedicated to landing on that road at least, or next to it in worst case, so that someone could find me.
Right.
Um, so I was plenty high. So I decided to try to dive to get the prop windmilling again to get it started.
And this is going back to chat. No starter on this aircraft.
Yes.
There is a crazy video of someone out there leaning out of their J3 Cub to hand prop it. in midair.
Don't try that. Don't try that at home, please.
um, but yeah, this is where this comes into play. So, just for those who might be like, dive, how is that going to start the motor? So, his mindset was, if I can get enough airspeed, enough wind over this prop, maybe it can turn over and we can get the power back, right? Again, there's no starter. So we've actually done this in the J3 Cub and Sim. You just dive down after you kill mixture, you put mixture back, and you can dive and it actually will start back. So that's what he's saying when, diving, trying to get that windmill effect to turn a piston over and get some fire back in the engine. That is what he's talking about when he's, just to clarify why he would dive the aircraft to try to get the engine back started.
Yes. Now, I hit V&E 2 times on the dive. I hit V&E, pulled out, and hit V&E again and pulled out. In total, the prop turned 2 blades.
And nothing. It did not even sputter or attempt.
No. On the first attempt, it just rotated 1 blade, like 1 throw. And then the compression stopped it from continuing. And then again, 1 blade, it turned. So after that, I gave up.
And I would assume that's, so just for the tracks, for the visuals, I would assume that is these dives, right? Would it maybe
I
here?
think so, yeah.
That's probably your dive attempting.
Yeah.
And then would you do another? Does this look accurate to where you maybe have tried another one here?
Yeah. Yes.
So it wasn't back to back. You kind of waited and then okay, I'll try it again. Maybe getting to some lower, warmer air and attempting it again later.
Maybe. It took about 2.5 minutes from the engine quit to I was on the ground.
Wow, jeez.
So I hit V&E 2 times, which is 120 miles an hour in the Cub. You could feel that it was V&E. Let's just put it at that.
Okay, well, I guess, have you ever V&E'd in the sim and like how the plane just kind of shakes?
Yeah.
Is it similar?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's about that. Yeah.
I love it because you can tell you're like, yeah, that was not fun, but it happened, and
yeah,
I love that. Yeah, we V&E'd twice, and it's scary as you can imagine it being.
Yes.
So you V&E'd attempting to get the motor back. That was your okay. It wasn't improper glide. It was just purely a last ditch effort to try to get the motor back started, and then you V&E'd and you pulled out of it. How was the G off? Well, not really off comment, but how was the G's pulling out of a V&E? Was it? Could you feel the G's a little bit?
I didn't pull back too hard. I just lifted the nose slightly, and then the speed went from 120 to around 190, and then I did a new dive. But yeah, I didn't pull back too hard. So after that attempt, I first saw a straight stretch of road, because you can see the road isn't straight on most places.
Right.
So after the first 90-degree turn-ish, if you're looking at direction on the stream.
Probably this one.
The first 90-degree turn, yes. And then you're looking at direction, you see a straight piece of road in that direction.
Right. I mean, pretty much where it ends.
Yeah. The straight and the one I landed on was my second choice, actually. When I was looking at the road, I decided, nope, to my right looks better.
Right. So you initially looked left.
Yes.
Because I mean, yeah, there are some straight stretches here, but it's risky for sure.
Yeah. Um, yeah. So I decided nope. And then I made the 180-degree turn, setting up for a left base.
Yep. So that will be right here is where you set up your
Yeah,
base.
yeah. And then I was kind of high, so I slipped it all the way down, which is an essential skill to be able to do in a cub with no clamps.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. So probably this track is kind of weird, but
Yeah, yeah,
probably
it's kind of.
around you probably I don't know if this is the point you landed, but
Yeah, you see the bend
yep.
in the road with there's with a bridge
Road with the bridge.
um on the threshold, I should say, on the threshold of the
Landing.
landing
Yeah, I
strip.
think I do see it right here,
Yeah.
probably.
There are some high tree sensor power lines there, which you can see on video and a picture.
Right. Old
Let's see.
scenery. Oh, probably the site.
Yeah, the sites. Yeah. Do they have names for you?
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Rescue. Yeah, that shows it. So you see the bridge there, and then you
Wow.
see the trees on final, the power lines, and the upslope of the road.
So you landed kind of behind the camera, and that
Yeah, no,
that's
I landed behind the trees you see in the picture.
okay. Okay. So they just towed you back to this point, kind of.
We pushed it
Okay.
over the bridge to this point because it was safer there.
So just for reference, this bend here is this bend right here. So the plane is like probably in this area, maybe.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
correct. Next
Okay.
to that house in that
Next to the
picture.
house. Okay.
Yeah. Or well, abandoned cabin.
Yes.
So there's also video which shows me standing just past the bridge, showing the trees, and a video one. Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's the road I landed on, and the trees you see there are what I flew just a few feet over in the slip.
So you make the final stretch, the final shoot.
Yeah.
Everything, airspeed, everything. I mean, how was the landing? Obviously, you're probably insanely happy to be super close to the ground again.
Yeah.
What was your like landing rollout? Was everything seamless? Was there issues in that sense?
One thing to
Oh yeah, let's
consider
hold on. Let's do this.
is cars.
We have an ad break. Can we take?
Okay,
I have
yeah.
to go to the restroom, so it's like
Yeah,
50
sure.
seconds worth of ads, and then we'll let
Yeah.
everyone back. Something is
Yeah, sure.
scuffed with audio.
I'll look through chat in the meanwhile, I think.
Yeah. You guys, if you want to ask him a
So
few
yeah.
questions, you can here.
Yeah.
When ask him a few questions,
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Yes. Well, coffee house 6 miles an hour lower for Regis is quite good, I think. That's more than I expected, to be honest. That's cool. Captain Butters, what's the airspeed needed to windmill start the type of aircraft you were flying? 120 miles wasn't enough, which was weenie. If it was a metal prop, it might have had enough momentum to pull through the compression and start, but I'm not sure, and I don't want to test it. So
All
yeah.
right. Did we fix the audio issues? I know what happened, but I just want to make sure that everything is back to normal. I believe it is. Um, the ad break is
Cyber yeah,
over.
it was kind of a hard stopper.
Good. Yeah, it was just my my browser audio encompasses everything. So, okay, back to so you set up the final approach. You're obviously, kind of brushing the trees, really close. Um,
Yeah,
Landing
on purpose.
wise, how was the landing on a road?
Uh, it was upslope, so I carried a little bit of extra energy,
Mhm.
which I acquired with diving down after the trees, just to utilize the only straight road I had. Um, One thing I looked for when I still was high up was cars. I didn't see any, luckily, because if you meet us car on that stretch,
It's very
it's
narrow.
not, yeah. So I pulled out of the slip when I was really close to the ground, and I made a 3-point landing, and I bounced. I
Three.
freaking
Oh, so you,
bounced once.
three.
But
Oh, so you did 3 point out of the slip.
yeah,
3 point landing, bounced it. Reasonable.
once. Yeah.
Hey,
It,
we'll forgive you.
it was a small bounce, not a big one. So
I mean, we
I'm
would be
happy with it.
fools to sit here and go, "You bounced the landing." What? Come on, man. It was right in front of you. You had a perfect shot.
Yeah.
So
But
bounced it once,
I
and it's uphill here.
yeah.
I think we can maybe see that in
Yes.
Google.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's slightly
Yeah.
uphill for sure.
You see it on the rescue picture. You can really see the uphill.
Okay. Uh,
Um. So I didn't really brake because of the uphill, and it slows down really well on its own.
so no
So
braking, just came. I mean, it probably just rested itself
yeah.
perfectly.
And when you have the pictures of airplane parked on the road, that's where it stopped. There's a small gravel, piece on the side of the road where we parked the plane, or
Is
where
it
I
the
parked the
site?
plane. No, it's airplane parked on the road folder.
Oh, I see it. Idiot. Don't worry about me. Oh, that's where you ended. Right there.
Yes, that was where I ended. Right next. I used the brakes to stop right next to that piece of gravel.
You're a legend.
Uh,
So you came up the hill.
we
You came up towards us this way.
Yes.
Wow.
Uh, yeah, the picture where the tail is in the ditch. We did it on purpose so that cars could pass.
Sure, you did. No, you planted that tail in the ditch. You didn't mean to do that.
Yeah, okay, I ground looped it. Yes.
you did, dude. Honestly, though, I mean
I
that I would say. I mean, did you think about a ground loop? Because a ground loop here
No.
is, I mean, it's unbelievable you landed it unscathed, but a ground loop would be pretty bad.
Yeah. I didn't think about ground looping, nor did I have the intent. But
You're such a legend, bro. Yeah.
but I just stopped in the middle of the road, hold the brakes, and smear, and it just held itself.
Perfect.
Luckily, because I was alone and it doesn't have a park brake.
Right. Yeah. And you probably don't have chalks in it either.
I had chokes
You did.
in the back.
Okay.
Yeah. Um. So I parked, and then I was still in the plane, and a few seconds later, a car pulled up.
I see that we're on that picture right now. That's perfect
Yeah.
timing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the car that stopped first. And that was a lovely Norwegian lady with 4 Aussies in a car. No, 3 Aussies in the car.
What? Oh, I'm sure that was a great conversation.
Yes, it was. That was. They were quite excited.
Wow, an airplane in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
uh, that's great.
So they helped me move the airplane to where you see it in that picture. And there were some cars that passed by that say, "What the fuck's this?" And how
Of
did this
course.
get here? And
This idiot is in the middle of the road in the
yeah,
airplane.
yeah,
That's great. That is great.
yeah,
So,
and yeah.
I mean, like cell service, like was it? I mean, was it a
Uh,
simple thing, or were you like, I really need someone to pass by me right now because this is not good?
well, I didn't have cell service, but the lady had,
Oh
luckily,
wow.
because she had a different provider. Um, so I managed to call firstly um, the tower that I wasn't coming home.
Look how proud, chat. Look at the proud young lad. Look at
Yes,
look at what I've done.
yes,
That's great. You know what though? You need to
yeah,
frame. You need to frame this picture.
yes.
This is
I really do.
wow.
Uh, yeah.
I love that.
I firstly called the tower because I said when I left I would be back in about 60 minutes, and I just called him that I wouldn't be coming back
Yes.
that night.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure they were happy
and
to hear
after
that.
yeah, and then next thing I called my colleague, which he's a technician.
Mhm.
Uh, and he was the last person to work on the plane together with me. We both worked on the plane.
That's good, at least.
But and he also lived the closest by. He was the closest person I knew.
What was his
So
initial
he,
response to your story?
well, I, well, I said hi. It's me from a different phone number. Um, can you come get me? And he said, where? And then I said, well, I don't really know where, but I'm in the middle of a road with the plane, with that plane. Um, what?
Oh my
I
god.
said, yeah. And then I said that I was unscathed and no need to rush. And then he came in within 20 minutes ish.
I'm sure he was very happy to see his aircraft in one piece.
Well, it wasn't his aircraft, but he was the last
Oh, oh,
technician to
oh,
work
oh,
on it.
oh. Oh, okay. Yes. So the last guy to
Yes.
work on it was the one you called.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and and together with me, we both worked on it.
Right.
So yeah, and yeah, with him, I pushed the plane down the road to a safer parking space, and then for funsies, we tried to start it. And on the first blade we turned, it started.
Wait.
First blade.
Wait. On the road?
Yeah, we tried.
Are you serious?
Yes,
So,
first blade, it started.
where's the? Oh, hold on. I'm trying to find the picture. This maybe this where it's no.
Uh,
That's just the plane. Where the site you push it to. I think I'm.
yeah.
Yeah, there it is. So it legitimately started first blade
Yes.
like nothing happened.
Like nothing happened.
Wow.
So that's why we assume carbis.
Wow.
That's the issue.
So what was the conversation with the owner?
Happy that I was okay and the airplane was okay, and yeah,
So you
yeah. He
yeah,
was kind of shocked, but he understood the situation, and
right.
yeah, it's insured, so
Absolutely.
we uh, we picked it up the next day. This picture is the next day. We took the wings off and trailered it back home
Okay. Cool.
or to the workshop.
Very nice. Well, I guess
So
before we open it up to questions, um
yeah,
do you regret, I mean, is there anything that I mean there's so many questions, but I guess going
yeah.
back to what we said on stream was, are you I'm sure you're not thankful it happened, but are you kind of glad to get it over with? Like the fear that is in the back of every pilot's head? Like, how is that?
Get over it. I don't know if that's the right word, but I'm thankful that I have the experience with
Yeah.
this ending. Uh, and it'll definitely uh, make the next time it happens easier, I guess.
No, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you could
More, yeah,
like there's only so much you can learn. I learned this in the fire department, going through a class of kind of like how to like ride in charge of a fire apparatus and make decisions. And one of the things they taught us was like training only gets you so far, but there's going to be times to where um, you have these experiences, and when you have enough experiences, certain things are going to happen, and you get to pull experiences in and make do with what you have for that scenario, if that makes sense.
yes, yeah,
um so it's obviously not a fun experience to have, but now you have this under your tool belt, and I'm sure it's a 100% a confidence booster, right? That
yes,
hey, I literally, I mean, you didn't have a dead stick and land in a farm field. You had a dead stick in the mountains and found a 1 lane road with just enough stretch of straight. It's a shame you bounced the landing. We don't tell people that, by the way. Just say you greased it. Um, but you know what I'm saying? Like your
yeah,
your engine off scenario was very difficult. You know, um, and I believe a lot of pilots with a lot of time would have maybe not done it as well. I mean, you can't really go through that scenario, but I mean, you handled it very very well from what it sounds like.
yeah, and it's also almost a miracle the airplane didn't get scaled because you see those snow sticks.
Yeah,
The wings went over those with about a clearance of 2 to 3 inches.
yeah, and not a scratch. Yeah, that's the other thing. Not a
Yeah,
you would be happy to be like, yes, I landed it, and it, I hit a tree, it ripped the wing off, but I'm
yeah,
okay. You landed it
yeah,
unscathed.
yeah, yeah,
You
yes.
know, like that is legitimately 1 in a million shot. So yeah, here's the flight path again. We'll kind of
It's
recap. So he took off here, had a nice flight, just kind of climbing out. He went up to that peak that we have the pictures of, um, and circled it. And then right around here is where the incident happened. He made a descent down, looked at the road. Here is where he was talking about he was kind of wanting to go left, but he made the decision to go right, made that 180 there, and then landed on the road right there.
yes.
Very, very good. Well, let's open it up to questions here. Unless you have, I mean, do you have anything else you want to say about
Yeah.
everything?
Uh, what helped me prepare for the situation? Um, Definitely the training I got from my instructor in the cub,
Hmm.
being able to hit the mark and slipping it to its fullest potential, and feeling comfortable slipping it, uh, which is a skill I wasn't taught in my PPL, and don't think it's that common in the US too to learn slips.
I
It
learned
is less than
slips. I think
5%.
it's actually an optional skill for your check ride.
Oh,
They can actually make you do a slip to landing in your check ride.
okay,
So I think it is
okay.
more prevalent, but we don't do spin training. That's what
Ah, yeah.
other people are mandatory spin. We don't do spin training. So, but I believe it's fairly common over here to do slips. Yeah. But in the Cub, it's mandatory. Like you have to know how to slip that plane.
Yes, yeah, you have to. And I fly competitions, navigation competitions.
Nice.
Uh, ANR and precision flying, if you have heard of it.
I have not, but
I,
sounds interesting.
okay, yeah. I can explain it if chat likes to, if you'd like to.
Yeah, is
Uh,
that like the cross country challenges?
no, it's takeoff and landing from the same airports,
Hmm.
but half an hour or 45 minutes before you're meant to go to your airplane, you
Hmm.
get a map with points. You get planning wind and some other basic info, and then you have to use your CRP5 or which your E6B
Right.
doom scroller thingy-mabob, um, and plotters and some conversion tables to plot the
Wow.
routes, correct for wind correction angle and time.
What? How many points is it?
You get for time, you get points for every
Well, how many
like
legs is the flight? I meant like
the flight is between oh it's about 30 to 50 minutes flight time or an
okay.
hour. Everything between 5 and 12 points or something, turning points.
Wow.
And after you compute the navlog, you hand that in, and then you have some grace margin, but after that grace margin, you get points for every second or degree you're off
Wow.
from your calculation. And
And is this solo
uh,
or you're a team, like you have another person with you?
precision flying is solo.
Wow.
Um, you also have a different version, which is a team. And then after that, you get handed a digital computed navlog with times, and then you take off on a set timestamp, like 12:55, like 12 p.m. 55 minutes,
Mhm.
and then you have 5 minutes to go to the starting points, and then you need to fly the route, and you have a grace time on each turning point of 2 seconds.
Two.
After that, and then you get points for every second you're off, early or late.
Wow. That's
Uh,
insanity.
yeah, but it's actually doable,
Yeah.
surprisingly enough.
But you would say
Uh,
that like greatly contributed to your success.
uh, well, yeah, but what also is incorporated in that competition is landing competitions,
Okay. Point
which is
landing.
really
Yeah.
interesting.
Spot
Yeah,
landings.
yes, but then it's not stall because you fly it with 150s, 152s,
Yeah, for
172s,
sure.
Pipers. Yeah. So you have a spot of 1 meter, which is 3 feet, and you get points for every meter you're after the spot, and you get double points for every meter you're before the spot.
Right. Yeah,
And
that
then
is
first
very
land,
that's important though in stall, right? We always
yeah,
give the
yeah, yeah,
analogy of if you're going to land on a 300-foot, sandbar and your plane needs 200 foot to land and you eat up 120, you're not going to make it, right?
yeah, correct, correct. And you have 4 landings. One is with engine and with flaps. Second one is no engine, so deadstick essentially.
You just do
With
power
flaps,
idle or
yes,
yeah. I was
yes.
about to say if you
And
guys are dead
then
sticking over there free willy, that's awesome.
I have heard rumors that was the procedure in the old
Oh,
days.
I'm sure it was. Yeah.
And then the third one is no power, no flaps. So there you really learn to use geometry of your pattern and slips
Yeah.
to landing. And the last one is obstacle landing, which is power and flaps. And then two people hold a rope, 2 meters, which is 6 feet
6 feet.
above the ground, about 100 feet before the touchdown zone.
Okay.
and you still need to land on the mark. But that's all that practice with hitting the mark, practicing power of landings, slipping, using geometry to fly the pattern. All helped
Right.
in this.
Amazing. Well, I think the people have some questions. Um,
Yes,
so we'll open
yeah,
it up to you now, chat. You can ask
I have seen a
JP.
few.
Yeah, if there are some that you've already seen, then feel
Yeah,
free to answer those while some more come in. But if
yeah.
you guys have any questions about anything with the situation, feel free to ask. This is JP's time to get all into the nitty gritty and
Yeah,
answer your
yeah.
questions. So
And if I haven't answered your question previously, just post it again, I guess, and I'll get to it.
absolutely. Um,
Uh,
oh, you're talking about the VGs in the Taylorcraft. Um, Coffee House says, I learned day one in the Taylorcraft. My instructor taught slips, 4 turn spins with the first couple of lessons. Oh, talking about spin training. But he was also IAC pilot, so he learned lean towards those aerobatic maneuvers. Yeah, aerobatics
yes.
can teach you a lot
Yeah,
as well. You know,
yeah, yeah. A lot
absolutely.
about coordination, spin avoidance,
Mm-hmm.
all that.
100%. Like we were talking about earlier, the skid
Yeah,
slips. 100%.
yeah. J-Man, what would you have done differently? Do you regularly scan for suitable landing locations while you fly, etc. Between Um, I do regularly, or I do scan for landing areas, but after this incident, I will have more focus on it.
Yeah.
Especially in Norway, there's a lot of wasteland or mountains and forest. Uh, so I'll think more about it in the future. Yes.
That's one thing that I find when I'm flying is I again need should be better about it, but I scan for landing spots whenever there's nothing else going on. It's kind of like one of those
Yeah.
things to kind of pass the time, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
everything's good, we're in cruise, autopilot's on. Oh, let me look for a spot to land if I have to. I think the only time, and you would definitely have this over there, is I really find myself focusing them on them when I'm flying over water. Like
Yes.
for
Yeah.
me,
I
that is like,
relate.
yeah, that's like when I really lock in, like, okay, like
Yeah.
there's nothing else. Like we have got to find a little bit of something somewhere.
Yeah. Or a boat or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Um, hey, no worries, Cyber. All right, any other questions? Again, you can ask anything at all. Um, if maybe we should scroll up. I think there was some earlier. Must have been a
Captain
major
Butters.
pain to get it hauled from there. How was the
Yeah.
trailering process?
It was all right. It took almost a day.
Hmm,
Uh, but yeah. It wasn't that bad. Today we needed to move the aircraft, so we put the wings on, which took just putting the bolts in, which is 4 bolts. Took Both wings took all of 15 minutes with 4 people.
wow, that's not bad at all.
So yeah, yeah, so that we can move the plane. But yeah, it wasn't that bad. Captain Butters, are havarikommunisjon, which is the Norwegian version of the NTSB, giving you a hard time, or are they reasonable? I didn't need to call them. I called them because it's an incident and there isn't any damage to me or the plane.
Yeah,
So they apparently have nothing to do with it. So it's classified as a incident and a normal landing on a road or field landing.
that's crazy.
S-
Normal
Yeah. So
landing.
all I had to do is make uppsäg report, which is just a report which is sent to the authorities and to the
Right.
system where everyone can read it
Now,
for learning purposes.
do you guys have like FISDO? Is that a similar or
Uh,
different?
it, it
The
it
flight
is not
safety
really the
district office, or
yeah
is it
yeah
kind of different?
we have Norges Luftfartsforbund. They manage all the GA flying and different version of AOPA almost.
Okay,
It's something, yeah.
something similar.
We also have AOPA Norway, but they are not that active right now,
Okay.
sadly.
All right. If there's no more questions, I'm sure you'll be back. Are you going to hang out and stream for a bit? Or are you? I was going to say if there's probably some more questions that might roll through, but um,
Yeah.
maybe you can answer them a little bit later. But dude, I really do appreciate it.